Welcome to episode 11 of Randall Vision. I am your host, Randall. Today we have an important episode that I neglected. I did do an introduction and a disclaimer, but I did not do a content warning. That some of the topics that are covered on this channel and will be covered on this channel are triggering to certain people. So I want to be able to give fair warning to the audience that some of this content may not be for you, and I'm kind of too lazy to do a content warning per episode, so this is a blanket one where you may just want to skip the whole channel because there will be uncomfortable topics. So at the top of the list, we're going to go with the most extreme and dangerous ones first due to people leaving early. And the top two bullet points I have here are existential dread and uncomfortable introspection. Now, they can exist independent of one another, but performing uncomfortable introspection can lead to existential dread. And either one of those, when you start challenging your worldview or looking at the dark side of reality or nature or existence, it could put you in a bad spot. And fortunately, in my case, I did have a support network of friends and family, and I was able to obtain some mental health care, but not everyone has that luxury. So particularly now at the time of recording, we're about 15 months into the global pandemic, and currently lots of Americans are reaching out for help, and there's an extra strain on the mental health care system. So it may not be there in the form that you need it when you need it. So definitely a heads up on that. The next bullet point we have here is I have smoked some cigarettes on camera. That's most certainly a bad habit. It sets a bad example. I'm most certainly not being a good role model by doing it. And cigarettes kill lots of people, so that's a yikes. Next up, just a blanket statement to cover yet to be discussed controversial topics, and what you should expect coming from me is not necessarily a left-wing or a right-wing perspective, and also not a centrist perspective. Folks on the left can make some good points. Occasionally people on the right make some good points. Centrists, in my view, are somewhat of cowards, or just don't feel strongly about things, and that works for some people, but I myself develop opinions or ideas, and they're mine. I don't expect anybody else to adopt my ideas, but where I'm coming from is more of a subgenius perspective. And I don't know how copyright laws work, or otherwise I would include this picture, but it's on page 17 of the book of the Subgenius, and the illustration shows somebody on the far left yelling about what they yell about, somebody on the far right yelling what they yell about, a confused centrist in the middle, but then between the far left and the far right figures, there is the subgenius picking both of their pockets. And that's more of my approach. And am I attempting to pick your pocket? And subtly, yes, I'm not going to state it explicitly here, but that'll be an Easter egg for other folks to try to uncover what is Randall trying to pick from my pocket. But among those controversial topics, there will be mentions of like dealing with death or covering issues related to suicide. So those are certainly triggering topics for certain people. Next up on the list, we have the use of profanity. I have given some minor slips here and there. I'm trying to keep it clean for the kids, even though this isn't kids material, but I don't see any reason why what I'm talking about shouldn't be accessible to all ages. So my apologies for the use of profanity. And down to number 6 here, we have spirituality. That'll be discussed probably in detail, or I mean, I've already touched on it at points, but I'm going to go deeper into that. So discussing spirituality, particularly for people that are like devout in whatever their particular belief system is, challenging that viewpoint can be unsettling for people. And if for some reason I were to dislodge somebody's viewpoint, that upends your world. And I don't want to try to alleviate me of the responsibility of, you know, the consequences of somebody consuming my content. So spirituality will be discussed. And finally, there's going to be a lot of cringy moments. There most certainly has already been cringy moments, and those will continue into the foreseeable future. If you have been watching from the beginning, you could already tell that I am starting to find my voice and being more comfortable in front of the camera. I expect that to continue, but in the meantime, while I'm still trying to get my footing, I'm gonna be a little awkward. I'm gonna say some dumb things here and there. So I don't think that's gonna trigger anybody. That, if anything, that may be a draw to the channel. But that's all I have for you today. Remember, you're a sovereign individual. Do what thou wilt.